What's going on, guys? How's everybody doing tonight? Let me know if you hear me. So, YouTube's been having some issues today. When I uploaded my update earlier, it took like an hour for it to process, and then it took like 5 hours for the video to process into high def. So, something weird is going on with YouTube. Like, even my thumbnail for this live stream, I have my normal emergency alert thumbnail. And when I started the stream, it had that red thumbnail, and then it got removed and put a different thumbnail, which I didn't even do. So something weird is going on with YouTube. I don't know what, but there were some other channels having issues. Um, so just wanted to let you guys know, if something weird happens, it's not my fault. It's either YouTube or some kind of technical glitch. And just be patient when things like that happen. Okay, there's a lot of people out there that get really impatient when something doesn't work right. Okay, um, I'm not a multi-million dollar news agency, with 20 IT guys that I can just call them and they're going to immediately fix something. Okay, it doesn't work that way. So just be patient if something doesn't happen the way it's supposed to. All right. Um, I'm not in the basement in this stream. My normal streaming location is in the basement. I'm in a different room right now. You may notice that. Rodney Middleton, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. And Adam Tannehill, thank you for the donation. Thank you so much. So we have some major breaking news coming in. There's apparently 10 Russian bombers in the air right now, and they're getting ready to launch on Ukraine. So I want to update you guys on that. And it's just been a very crazy week this week with everything going on between Russia and Ukraine. So I want to talk about that. We have Belarus on the verge of launching a military campaign against NATO, against Lithuania, and possibly Poland. So a lot of stuff is going on, and it looks like it's going to happen very, very soon. Why do I look like Ted Kaczynski? That's such a stupid comment. I don't know why people make comments about the fact that I wear an orange sweatshirt. I'm sick of people commenting about that, okay? Get a life, all right? I wear orange because I go to the range a lot, and I wear orange so somebody doesn't accidentally shoot me when I'm going to change targets. Maybe if you guys got off your butt and actually did something useful, maybe you would understand, okay? So, anybody that comments about my orange mods, please time them out, okay? I'm sick of hearing about that. So, God's soldiers, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Just been an absolutely crazy news week, and we're heading into Easter. So, it's just a lot of stuff going on. So let me just share my screen, and let me just share some stuff with you here. Hold on. One moment here. So in case you guys didn't see my update earlier today, we have Russia moving nuclear missiles in Siberia. This was earlier today. This was released by Russian media, and it shows an RS-24 Yars. This is an SS-27 Mod 2 leaving a garrison in the Irkutsk area in Siberia. So this is Russia's newest nuclear missile that is road mobile. They also have some in silos, but it's primarily a road mobile missile. Okay, it can carry 4 to 6 warheads, and what makes this thing dangerous is they can park this thing anywhere, and they're impossible to find on satellite and other methods that the U.S. has at their disposal. So they basically disperse these trucks into the countryside when tensions are escalating. But this was posted today, okay, and we know that tensions are very, very high between Russia and the U.S. Okay, we had several B-1s fly to Russia this week, B-1 strategic bombers. There were 2 that flew to the Kola Peninsula last week, I think on Saturday. And then we had some fly to the Kola Peninsula, I think Sunday or Monday. And then last night we had 2 more B-1s fly to Russia again. So 3 sorties to Russia's Northern Fleet in 1 week. Okay, that is a very serious move by the U.S. 3 B-1 bomber sorties in 1 week, guys. That is a lot. Okay. And the B-1s are nuclear bombers. They're nuclear capable. They're not nuclear now. Now they're primarily conventional, but they are nuclear capable. Okay. So this is extremely serious. The situation is extremely tense right now between Russia and the U.S. I want to just go through some of the main headlines before we cover the situation in Ukraine tonight with the missile attack. We currently have 10 Russian bombers in the air, and they just released their missiles, so they should be impacting Ukraine any minute now. But the big news today was that Russia stated that they have proven the connection between the concert hall shooters and Ukrainian nationalists. Russia's investigative committee says it has uncovered evidence that the gunmen who killed more than 140 people in an attack on a concert hall last week are linked to Ukrainian nationalists. In a statement, it said the attackers received significant amounts of cash and cryptocurrency from Ukraine. Okay, so Russia is saying that Ukraine basically paid these ISIS terrorists to carry out this attack, and they gave them crypto and cash. And what's interesting is earlier in the week, Belarus President Lukashenko said that these attackers were trying to flee to Belarus, which contradicted what Putin said, that they were trying to flee to Ukraine. And Putin said that they had a window prepared for them by Ukrainian intelligence, okay? But you see where this is going? Russia is linking this to Ukraine. They're saying that they have evidence that Ukraine paid these attackers significant amounts of cash and crypto, okay? So probably millions and millions of whatever currency, okay? That's what Russia is claiming, that Ukraine basically paid to have this attack done, essentially. They basically paid the terrorists to do this, okay? Which I personally don't believe. It's very convenient that suddenly a week after Putin gets reelected, there's suddenly this massive terror attack in Russia. And then, oh, by the way, it was Ukraine that was involved. Yeah, how convenient, right? Literally, within 2 weeks of Putin getting reelected, you have this massive attack, hundreds of people dead in Moscow, and then literally 2 days later, Putin comes out and says that there's links to Ukraine. I mean, come on, use your critical thinking, okay? It's just way too much of a coincidence. So things are going to escalate very, very soon. And as you see here, we have these Russian nuclear missiles being deployed to the countryside and covered with snow camo. So I don't know if this is an exercise. I don't know if this is actual dispersal. So dispersal, if you don't know what that means, these missile trucks are designed to be dispersed into the countryside during a nuclear war. So this way we can't detect where they are. Okay. So I don't know if this is an exercise or if this is actual, real world dispersal, and they're moving them out into the countryside because they're expecting something to possibly happen soon, which it's very possible that they're doing this as a precaution because Russia is about to make a huge offensive against Ukraine, absolutely huge. Everything I've heard is that Russia is gonna go all out in the end of May and June. And then we also have the situation with Belarus, where the president of Belarus literally said that to one of his army commanders that they're going to have to go into the Suwalki Gap and take part of Poland and deal with the Baltic republics. Okay. So this is a very, very tense situation right now. Things are about to get extremely serious really, really soon. Okay. Enjoy your Easter weekend while you can. Okay. Because I think after Easter, things are going to really get crazy. So, get prepared as best as you possibly can. That's all I have to say. Let me just check the chat here. Zionist evangelist Nathan Atwell, thank you so much for the donation. Samuel DeMarco, thank you so much for the donation. Not just do you. Anyone showing what's about to happen in the Baltics is getting silenced on all platforms. Interesting. Wow, that's very, very interesting. I didn't know that. Wow. That's very interesting. And Aubrey, thank you for the donation, Aubrey. Hope you're having a good Holy Thursday. Today is the day that Jesus Christ had the Last Supper with his apostles, and tomorrow he got crucified. Quantizzle, thank you for the donation. Becky Heffernan, thank you for gifting 10 memberships. Hope you're having a good Thursday night. And Growing, thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. Diana Stanley, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. Hopkinson, thank you for gifting, or thank you for the donation. Scott Dykstra, thank you for the 5 memberships. Zionist Evangelist, thank you for the donation. Debbie Nguyen says, I love orange. Well, I'm glad you love orange. Thank you, Debbie. Peggy McGuire, thank you for the donation. You're such a blessing, Greg, and this room is just plain awesome. Thank you for all you people for your energy, humor, and encouragement. Thank you so much, Peggy, for the donation. And It's Solo, thank you for gifting 20 memberships. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. So very serious situation, okay? And this was earlier in the week. NATO has now been moving forces to the border of Belarus in Lithuania. Okay, here we have German armored fighting vehicles of some kind. I'm not too familiar with German army equipment, but this is right next to Belarus in the village of Medininkai, literally a mile from the Belarus border. Okay, and this happened literally a day after the president of Belarus visited his army at the border of Lithuania and talked about attacking the Suwalki Gap. And the commander of his army said that they have everything in place, that there's already plans for that, and that they're actually in the process of preparing. Okay. So I'm telling you guys, it could kick off simultaneously. We could see Belarus attack Lithuania and or Poland at the same time as Russia launches a massive offensive against Ukraine with potentially 500,000 troops. Okay, Sergei Shoigu said 2 weeks ago that they are going to be forming 2 new ground armies this year. which is going to amount to 16 divisions and 14 brigades. And if you do the math, that's like around 500,000 troops. Okay. So I think Russia is going to go for the jugular this year because it's the perfect opportunity for them. All right. Because NATO has been depleted. They've sent all their best equipment, not all their best equipment, but a good amount of their best equipment and artillery to Ukraine, and Ukraine has used it all. So NATO has gotten depleted. Ukraine has gotten depleted. And the problem is Russia went into a wartime production mode like 2 years ago. When the war started, they were producing artillery and tanks and all kinds of stuff like crazy. They went into a wartime scenario. We have not, okay, because our leaders here in the West are, I don't know what their deal is, but we should be in a wartime mode as well. We should be also, churning out artillery shells up the butt, okay, like Russia is. But the problem is we're not. So we've depleted a lot of our equipment. We're exhausted. Ukraine is exhausted. And now is the perfect time for Russia to launch a massive offensive against Ukraine, bigger than the initial invasion. I'm talking about 300,000 troops, and they're going to try to break through the front lines and maybe go for Odessa, maybe go for the capital again. I don't know, okay, but it looks like Russia's preparing a huge offensive. They know Ukraine is depleted. They know that the West is not giving them what they need, especially here in the U.S. with the aid bill that's been, argued over for the last 2 months. So now's the opportunity for Russia. Same thing with Belarus. Belarus is going to go into Lithuania, potentially Poland also, to cause problems for NATO. So NATO panics, and NATO's not going to know what to do with two of these situations going on at once, because at the same time as Russia's launching their massive offensive, which is going to freak a lot of people out, because, we've sent so much equipment and so much money to Ukraine, and that's all going to basically be for nothing. And we're going to see Russia come in and, break through the front line, and NATO's going to be panicking about that. And then at the same time, you're going to have Belarus go into Lithuania, which is going to cause panic as well, because we're going to have an attack on a NATO country. And there's going to be a lot of chaos, and that's what Putin is going to try to do to keep us on our toes, okay? So, I don't know if that's exactly how it's going to happen, but that's what I see possibly happening here. And here we have the flight path of the B-1s that were flying up to Russia last night. They took off from Meron Air Base in Spain. And let me just pull up this video here of Lukashenko speaking with his general, in case you guys missed it. Okay. This is literally in the same area where I told you guys 2 weeks ago, Belarus moved an entire brigade to the border of Lithuania, the village of Ashmiany. You can look on the map. It's literally like 10 miles from the Lithuanian border, and it's right on the highway that goes straight to Vilnius, the capital of Lithuania. So from this location, Belarus literally only has to go like 30 miles to reach the capital of Lithuania. And there's no NATO forces there besides what you just saw. There's no NATO brigades right there in that area. Okay, the closest brigades are in Altius and Kaunas. So by the time they respond, it's going to be a while. Okay, I don't know if they're going to go for the capital. I don't know if they're going to go for the Suwalki Gap. I don't know if they're just going to try to make a small incursion into Lithuania to cause problems, to get NATO scared. Basically just go in like a few miles and hold that territory just enough to be an annoyance for NATO, kind of like what the Russian partisans are doing in Belgorod right now. Maybe that's what they're going to do. They're just going to go in like a few miles, enough to where NATO's going to have to focus on that and move forces there. I don't know, okay, but this is very concerning. You can read the subtitles here. But there he is. There's the president. of Belarus, and he's talking to his commander here. Okay, and this map in the background on the screen is a map showing aviation assets. I think it's like aviation assets of the surrounding countries around Belarus. Okay, now I reported earlier today that Belarus has moved all their fighter jets away from the front lines. They just did that, I think, 2 days ago. Okay, that's another sign that they're preparing for war. They moved all their fighter jets away from the Polish and Lithuanian border because they're afraid that they could be destroyed by Polish missiles. Okay, Poland has a huge inventory of air-to-ground missiles that they purchased from Western countries over the last 10 years or so, and they could easily blow up all those Belarusian fighter jets. So Belarus moved all their fighter jets to the eastern part of the country, away from NATO, and that's a sign that they're preparing for war. Okay? Specifically, they moved the jets that were in the Lida air base to, I think it was Minsk or Babruisk. And then they moved the jets that were in Baranovichi to Minsk or Babruisk. Okay. So, very serious situation, guys. So here we have Lukashenko asking his general, how far is it from Belarus to Kaliningrad? And he's talking about the Suwalki Gap.
Коридор, сколько тут километров до России, до Калининградской области от наших границ?
He says, how far to Kaliningrad from our borders?
До Калининградской области от наших границ. Ну вот,
42 километра.
And then they say 42 kilometers.
Если по прямой, а если по границе?
42 kilometers in a straight line and 90 kilometers if you travel along the border. Okay, so maybe Lukashenko is trying to decide, do we need to go into Poland? Maybe we just go into Lithuania and we don't piss off the Poles, because he's afraid of the Poles. The Poles have an air force. They have a proper air force. They have a proper tank army and artillery and infantry and stuff, versus the Baltic countries. They have very small, tiny militaries. They have like no tanks or artillery, hardly any at all. They don't have any fighter jets. They don't have anything, okay? So maybe he's debating if he stays on the Lithuanian side of the Suwalki Gap so he doesn't piss off the Poles, because he could still take the Suwalki Gap without crossing Polish territory, because if he stays on the Lithuanian side, Poland may not necessarily get involved right away, at least not to the point where they're going to start striking Belarusian territory. But if they try to go into Polish territory, Poland could potentially strike Belarusian territory in self-defense. They could blow up their S-400s. They could blow up their Iskander complexes that Putin gave them, and they could blow up all their jets, all their crappy jets that are like 60 years old. They can turn them into scrap metal. So, it's a very serious situation here, okay?
Практически ничего. Зря они себя так ведут. Но в данный момент...
And then he says, but at that moment, you will have to resist the Baltic republics, okay? So he's talking about going to war with the Baltic republics.
Тебе придется противостоять Балтийским республикам и часть.
And then he says, and you are taking over part of Poland. He's literally telling his commander, you are going to try to take over part of Poland. I mean, that is just, he's basically ordering him what to do. That's what he's doing. He's giving him orders. He's saying, you will take over part of Poland, which is a suicide mission. Andrew Pickett, thank you for the donation. God bless you and your work, Greg. Learned in the chat today before the live that CERN is testing on April 8th during the eclipse. I'm expecting either something huge or a dud. Wow, that's pretty interesting. And Michael Donnelly, thank you for the 10 memberships. I appreciate it. And Benjamin Duckworth, thank you for the donation. I appreciate that. And Michael Donnelly, again, 10 memberships. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's really interesting that CERN would suddenly, spin up right during the eclipse. That's really bizarre, if you ask me. Strange timing. So I'm going to continue on with the news here, and then we'll go into the missile strike ongoing in Ukraine right now. I'll update you guys on that. So he basically says you are going to take over part of Poland, and then the commander says there is a small part of Poland. He says the north part, the northeast part. And then he asks him, are you sure that this territory is on the front and you will keep it with your troops? So he's basically asking him, are you sure you can hold this territory if you go in? And then he says there are military planning documents. All actions are planned. Okay, so they've already planned it out a long time ago is what he's saying. Then he says the questions of combat readiness are being worked out. The personnel are being prepared. Including what is provided set by your instructions is now being executed at the disposal of the Minister of Defense in the framework of the preparation of fortifications of the region. So he's basically saying that we're doing what you told us.
Сейчас уже исполняется распоряжением министра обороны в рамках подготовки укрепрайонов. Мы не просто выходим.
We do not just go to the areas of field entry and the areas of exercise. We are now in the real areas so that the personnel of the officers know the terrain, know the roads, know where, how, and what. So he's basically saying that they're already in position and they're there so they can get to know the terrain before they move out. So this is very serious, guys, okay? This is very serious. And I shared this with you guys like multiple times last week. They moved an entire mechanized brigade to within 10 miles of Lithuania, and they put it on wartime status, okay? It's on wartime status now, okay? You can actually see in the video, Lukashenko is wearing military uniform. Look at him. He's wearing military uniform here, okay? He's ready to go to war. He looks like Mussolini or something, okay? He looks like Mussolini here. He's ready to go to war, okay? And here's the composition of that brigade that was moved to the Lithuanian border: 62 T-72s, 219 combat armored vehicles, 78 artillery systems, 14 air defense systems, hundreds of war machines, basically, okay? Hundreds. But the big news is that Russia is saying that there's a link to Ukraine with this concert hall attack, that they have evidence that Ukraine basically paid them significant amounts of cash and cryptocurrency. So that's the big news, guys. Okay, huge. And French President Emmanuel Macron responded to Russian leader Vladimir Putin's claims that the ISIS terrorists who carried out the attack at the Crocus City Hall were allegedly ready to cross the border to the Ukrainian side. He said, I think that it would be both cynical and counterproductive for Russia itself and the security of its citizens to use this context to try and turn it against Ukraine. And we also have a situation brewing in Serbia and Bosnia. We have this Serbian separatist region in Bosnia called Republika Srpska. And the Bosnian government is threatening to arrest the leader of this separatist area of Bosnia. Okay, and the Serbian president is going to be making an address to the nation tomorrow at 1800 local time. So that's 6 o'clock local time in Serbia, okay? So that's going to be like, I think, noon over here, or maybe 1 1 p.m. Eastern time or 1300 Eastern time. So he's going to address the nation, and he kind of made some threats like a week ago or 2 weeks ago it was, that he was going to go into Kosovo, that it was just a matter of time. We have Lavrov making a very strong statement today. Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, said something big is going to happen in the near future. And he said, and I'm quoting him directly, okay, there may be no need to discuss the legitimacy of Zelensky's role after May 20th. Let's wait until then. Wow. Okay. So I don't know what's going to happen on May 20th, but it looks like Russia is going to prepare some offensive, or they're going to try to take Zelensky out. But I'm going to read this to you again. There may be no need to discuss the legitimacy of Zelensky's role after May 20th. Let's wait until then. So I don't know what's going to happen on May 20th, but he's saying that they're not going to have to worry about Zelensky anymore. So I don't know if that means that they're going to take over the Kiev. They could start this operation next week if they want to. The ground is already pretty dry in Ukraine. There hasn't been a lot of snow this winter. There hasn't been a lot of rain. The ground is pretty dry over there, and it's going to dry up sooner this year. They could start this operation very soon. So, just get prepared as best as possible. And Zelensky said in an interview with CBS that Russia is preparing a major offensive in the end of May and June. Okay, I'll repeat that again. Zelensky said in an interview with CBS that Russia is preparing a major offensive in the end of May and June. And Israel conducted a large airstrike this evening in Aleppo in Syria, causing a large number of Assad's army elements and figures affiliated with Hezbollah to be killed. I'm hearing as many as 30 killed in this massive airstrike by Israel on Aleppo. And Reuters reported that the U.S. top general said today that Israel has not received every weapon that they asked for, in part because Biden's administration was not willing to provide some of them. So that's pretty concerning. So Biden's not giving Israel everything that they need. And for the second or third time this month, Hezbollah appears to be conducting a major exercise in and around the capital of Lebanon, Beirut, to test the deployment readiness of heavy combat forces, as well as the evacuation capability of high-ranking leadership from command centers in Beirut. This likely continues to be preparation for an Israeli ground invasion of southern Lebanon, which would involve significant missile and airstrikes against Hezbollah assets in Beirut. So Hezbollah is preparing for a possible invasion of Lebanon by Israel. Okay, Israel is going to go into Lebanon as soon as they're done with Gaza. Okay, the last piece of the puzzle in Gaza is Rafah. They're going to start that operation any day now, probably after the eclipse or after Ramadan is when they're going to start. But they're going to finish up Rafah very soon. Once they're done with Rafah, then they're going to go into Lebanon. So Hezbollah is preparing to evacuate their leadership from Beirut and command centers in the city. And they're preparing to deploy their heavy combat forces, which would be like armored vehicles, around the city in the event of invasion by Israel. So Hezbollah is scared. Okay, they're getting ready. And Ukraine has built 5,000 dragon's teeth outside of Odessa. The regional state administration of Odessa reports the buildup of modern fortifications, which provide for a system of trenches, dugouts, and other shelters, both for personnel and equipment. 5,000 dragon's teeth, guys. So what does this tell me? This tells me that Ukraine is very concerned about Odessa. They're not putting these dragon's teeth in Zaporizhia. They're not putting these dragon's teeth in Donetsk. They're not putting these dragon's teeth in Kupiansk. They're putting them outside of Odessa. So Ukraine is very worried that Russia is going to try to take Odessa, and I think that's what Russia is going to try to do. They're going to try to go for Odessa and try to cut off Ukraine from the Black Sea. Once they do that, they basically cripple the whole country economically, because Ukraine is reliant on the Black Sea to ship their grain out. And if they choke off Ukraine from the Black Sea, their economy is going to collapse overnight. Okay, because they make most of their money from that grain. It's like, imagine if Canada blockaded the east and west coast and none of our ships could go out or come in. That would devastate us, wouldn't it? So even more so Ukraine, because they're a major agricultural exporter. That's their primary export is agriculture. Okay, so if Russia goes to Odessa and they can block off the Black Sea, that would cripple Ukraine. And then after that, all they got to do is go to Kiev, which they're not that far from there. Okay, so very serious, guys. Very, very serious situation.
От наших границ.
So let me continue here. I'm almost done with some of this news. We have Alexander Syrsky, Ukraine's commander-in-chief, has met with General Charles Brown, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of the U.S., to discuss Ukraine's needs for the coming months. Syrsky wrote on Facebook, during the conversation, we discussed the needs of Ukraine's armed forces in the coming months, the issue of U.S. assistance to Ukraine, specifically strengthening protection against Russian missile and bomb strikes, the development of fortifications, and some strategic issues for the future in 2024. So Ukraine's top general spoke with our chairman of the Joint Chiefs, our top general essentially, and they talked about protection against missile and bomb strikes, fortifications, and strategic issues. Okay, so that's what Ukraine is really focusing on now. And I think Russia's going to really do something serious very, very soon. Okay, like very serious. They're going to escalate in a very serious way, whether it's with the ground invasion, whether it's with ground missile attacks or something. I don't know. But it's coming, guys. It's going to really escalate soon. I think we're going to see massive escalation. It's going to be worse than the invasion, the initial invasion of Ukraine. Everybody remember how people were really panicking when that happened? It's going to be bigger than that. Okay. Like I said, Russia is in a position now where they can go for the jugular of Ukraine, and they're going to take advantage of it. Okay. Before there's a change of presidents here in the U.S., because if Trump gets in, maybe things are going to change. Maybe, Trump is going to threaten Putin or something. I don't know. But we do know that Putin prefers Biden to Trump because he said Biden is more predictable. Okay. So they may want to do all of this before Trump gets elected. And Pal Johnson, the Minister of Defense of Sweden, has confirmed that after Sweden's NATO accession is finalized, it will not rule out the possibility of supplying Ukraine with its Gripen fighter jets. Johnson stated earlier that Sweden would not be able to make a decision to supply Ukraine with its jets until it joined NATO. And this process was complete at the beginning of March. And apparently now the discussions are ongoing. So it looks like Sweden may be giving Ukraine the Gripen fighter jets. And Ukraine sent a delegation to Poland today to discuss the situation with the grain exports and the grain going into Poland and Europe, and the whole situation there with the angry farmers in Poland blocking the border. Well, Ukraine's agricultural minister said that Ukraine is now 2 times closer to unblocking borders with Poland after meeting with his colleagues in Warsaw today. And actually, the Ukrainian Prime Minister, Denis Shmyhal, visited the Polish Prime Minister in Warsaw, and they talked about this. And Russia shot down their own fighter jet today in a friendly fire incident. I have some footage of that I'll share with you in a little bit. And following Japan's acquisition of the Tomahawk missiles from the U.S. military has begun training Japan on how to use the Tomahawk missiles. So Japan is now being trained on how to use Tomahawk missiles, guys. Take a guess what those are for. Okay, therefore, a possible war with China over Taiwan, or maybe a war with Russia over the Kuril Islands. Okay, China's Ministry of Defense warned today that support for Taiwan's independence could lead to war across the Taiwan Strait. And Biden and Obama traveled today together on Air Force One. Apparently, they went to a Democrat Party fundraiser in New York City. But there was some video footage of the two of them leaving Air Force One together, and it sparked a lot of conspiracy theories and rumors that basically Obama is still president. And apparently the reason Obama was on the plane is because he was going to that fundraiser with Biden. But pretty interesting that Obama would fly on Air Force One. I guess it's okay for a president to have a former president as a guest on the plane. I wouldn't see an issue with that. And several Russian warships passed through the Bab el-Mandeb Strait in the Red Sea. And they're going to Eritrea to conduct exercises over there with, I think, China and Iran. So very serious situation, guys. Let me see here. Here we have a picture of the Belarusian army training with chemical warfare. Okay, they're wearing, chemical suits and respirators. Okay, this was this week, like 2 days ago. Here we have a picture that was released by ISIS, and it says who is next, and then it shows here Rome, Madrid, London, and Paris. So any of you guys out there in Europe, be on very high alert. Any of you guys out there in Australia, be on high alert. Here in North America, be on high alert, okay? Anytime you go out into big cities, into crowded public areas, be aware of your surroundings, know where the exits are, be aware of cover and concealment anywhere you go. Like if you're on a train, think in your head, okay, what do I do if some crazy guy walks in with a gun? How am I going to take cover? What around me can stop bullets, okay? And if there's nothing around, then you want to try to hide. And if you can't hide, then try to lay on the ground and make yourself as flat as possible on the ground, like a pancake, and that'll reduce the likelihood of getting hit by a stray bullet. Okay, but always carry a personal protection device, preferably one that has powder, a bullet, and a primer. If it's legal in your area. Many big cities in America and around the world do not allow people to carry firearms. So if you're going to places like New York City, Chicago, LA, forget about carrying anything because it's illegal to carry firearms in those cities. I think also like Portland and Seattle, DC, Boston, all the big cities in blue states and stuff. All of them you can't carry, so just be aware of that. Anytime you go somewhere, like if you're going to one of those cities, just be aware, And we have some rumors floating around on Russian and Ukrainian Telegram channels that a lot of Russian equipment was spotted going into Luhansk Oblast in eastern Ukraine. Apparently, there were 20 plus fuel trucks spotted going into Lugansk, okay, and 40 Ural trucks. So potentially, Russia is going to make a push out of Luhansk Oblast, maybe. There were also pontoon KAMAZ trucks appeared in commercial quantities. Lots of tractors in Syrian desert camouflage, mostly old Urals. Fuel trucks move in columns. A lot of different trailers based on MAZ pull armored vehicles to the line through Kadivka, Pervomaisk, and Popasna. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. And here we have some video footage of Ukraine fortifying their border with Belarus. Look at this, guys. This is absolutely insane. Look at these fortifications along the border of Belarus. Absolutely massive fortifications with bunkers, razor wire. Look at this, guys. Looks like something out of, World War II in France somewhere. Okay, look at this bunker. This is insane. If there was no threat from Belarus, why are they doing that? There's a lot going on that the powers that be don't want to tell you about. Okay, the fact that we basically have a major war going on in Europe right now, the largest war since World War II. Okay, 500,000 casualties probably on both sides. And that number is going to escalate, is going to increase dramatically in the coming months. Okay, so it's not a situation that's just going to magically go away. This is going to drag on for months, and it could end up going nuclear. Putin could finally push the button and nuke Ukrainian cities. There's a prophecy that talks about that. The Azov Mena prophecy. I've talked about it many times on my channel. Pastor Philip Barnett, he's from Oklahoma. He had a church in Kyiv, the capital of Ukraine. And when he was a pastor in Ukraine, he had visions. God showed him basically a future war between Ukraine and Russia. This is going back to I think the early 2000s is when he had this vision. And he initially published the vision in 2007. So in his vision, God showed him that there would be a massive invasion of Ukraine by Russia. They would come from the north, the east, and the south. And there would be a massive evacuation of Ukrainians during that first invasion. And then a little while later, Russia would use nuclear weapons on Ukraine, and there would be a second big evacuation from Ukraine. And basically, Russia would nuke all the cities in Ukraine, Kharkiv, Kyiv, all the eastern Ukrainian cities. The only area that would be untouched would be western Ukraine, Lviv, that area, and the Carpathians. That would be like a safe haven for Ukrainians during this future war with Russia. But he specifically names Odessa, Kherson, Zaporizhia, Dnipro, even Donetsk, I think also Luhansk, Kharkiv, Poltava, Kyiv, and I think also Cherkasy possibly. I'm not sure. But basically a bunch of big cities in eastern Ukraine get nuked according to this prophecy. And I'm a believer in this prophecy because he was dead on in the initial invasion the way that Russia came into Ukraine, the different avenues of approach that they came in from was 100% what he prophesied, okay, what God showed him, okay. If you go back, the videos on YouTube, okay, in 2007, he posted a map of what God showed him and which directions Russia was going to invade from. And his map literally identical to what happened 2 years ago, okay? So that right there made me think that this is legit, that this prophecy is legit. And I know a lot of you guys are not Christians. I know a lot of you guys are atheists. That's fine. Okay, but for my Christian viewers, I'm telling you that prophecy, Azov Mana, definitely look into it and watch the original prophecy where he talks for 3 hours in detail about what happens. And basically, in a nutshell, after Russia attacks Ukraine, they do the invasion, a bunch of Ukrainians leave, then they nuke Ukraine, a bunch of Ukrainians leave again. And then after that, Russia takes the entire eastern part of Ukraine all the way to the Dnieper River. And once Russia takes the eastern part of Ukraine, then they have control of the Dnieper River. And then that allows Russia to send their navy down to the Middle East to attack Israel And then that's where the prophecy ends, is with the Gog-Magog war. And then we know what happens there. The Russian military gets destroyed because they make a move on Israel, and God goes, obviously God won't like that, right? So Sally, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. You put much effort in delivering the news to all of us. God bless you and your family. Thank you, Sally. I appreciate it. And God bless you and yours as well. So we had this Polish lieutenant general, this guy right here, who was found to be working for Russia. He was actually on the team for NATO that was supplying weapons to Ukraine, and it turns out that he was a spy for Russia. So who knows what kind of information he gave to the Russians. Here we have the video of the Russian Sukhoi 35 fighter jet that was shot down by Russian air defense over Crimea earlier. I mean, this is just absolutely insane. They shot down their own fighter jet, guys, a Sukhoi 35. That's one of their best fighter jets. Look at that. It just landed right in the water there. Look, this is right over Crimea. They shot down their own fighter jet, guys. So, there's a lot of people out there, they think that the Russian military is like, some kind of indestructible force, like the bear, the bear, watch out for the bear. Don't poke the bear. Well, the bear shoots down their own freaking fighter jets, okay? And if the bear has such great air defenses, how is Ukraine able to pound the crap out of Crimea all the time with all these Storm Shadow missiles? Okay, I thought Russia had the best air defenses in the world. What happened? The S-500s, the S-6000, capable of shooting down an asteroid from 3 light years away. What happened here? Okay. So the Russian air defenses, in my opinion, so far, they seem to be a paper tiger. I mean, if their air defenses were so great, why are all these Ukrainian missiles constantly hitting Crimea? They're hitting very important parts of Crimea. They took out their communications building last week. They hit Crimea very hard last week. They took out their Black Sea Fleet communications building. Okay, where's the S-6000? I thought it was capable of knocking Planet X out of its orbit. What's going on here? Okay, but this is just absolutely insane. Look at this, guys. I mean, could you imagine if we shot down one of our own F-35s? It's completely insane. It's embarrassing. But here's the video footage of that. If you think I'm making it up, there's the proof right there. Believer says, Greg, don't listen to the haters. Yeah, I don't listen to the haters. The haters, they think that they're going to get into my head and make me change the way I do things and somehow throw me off course, and that's not going to happen. Nobody's going to throw me off track. Nobody's going to get into my head. That's not going to happen. So sorry to disappoint any of you guys out there looking to sabotage me in some way. It's not going to happen. But just crazy footage here. So let me continue on here. Let me continue here with more footage. Here we have a picture showing a 1-to-1 replica of the Taiwan presidential palace in Mongolia. Apparently, the Chinese army has been practicing trying to assault this mock Taiwan presidential compound in the Mongolian desert. Okay. And also this week, we had multiple nuke sniffers up in the air over the Sea of Japan, and there was also a missile detection plane in the Sea of Japan. So I don't know if North Korea is planning a nuclear test soon or a missile test, but there's been a lot of activity in the Sea of Japan with the nuke sniffers and the missile detectors. So, that's another front that could pop off very soon. So we have just so much going on. It's crazy, guys. We have the threat of terrorism across the world with ISIS and everything that's going on in the Middle East. Okay, the situation with Israel and its neighbors, okay, is continuing to escalate. Global terrorism, very, very high right now. We have the Olympics this summer, which there could be something going on over there. Possible attacks on the Olympics. But we have the Middle East, we have Ukraine, we have Belarus now, we have North and South Korea, China, Taiwan, Russia, Japan, Iran, Israel, Venezuela, Guyana. I mean, U.S.-Mexican border, election, just so much going on. And I think this year is going to be absolutely insane. We have the eclipse coming up. We have what's predicted to be an explosive hurricane season this year, according to AccuWeather. Okay, they're saying 8 to 12 hurricanes this year, 4 to 6 direct impacts on the U.S., and 4 to 7 major hurricanes. We're going back into a La Nina now. That's going to start this summer, and La Ninas mean stronger hurricane season for the Atlantic basin, and then colder winters for the northern hemisphere. So we're going to have a strong hurricane season here in the U.S., and then we're going to have massive winters across the northern hemisphere this year. Okay, massive winters. So get prepared. And here we have a picture showing the Ukrainians fortifying near Odessa. They're building some kind of a bunker here. It looks like an Atlas survival shelter. It's pretty cool. This looks like a fallout shelter, actually, because they're burying it underground. Looks like a NBC-proof shelter, nuclear, biological, chemical shelter here, okay? And here we have dragon's teeth being spread out near Odessa. So, it's just a crazy situation, guys. Absolutely insane. John Graves says you're already cutting firewood. I'm glad to hear it. K. Paul, good to see you. Aldo Schmedak. What's going on, John Hoover? Rodney Middleton, thanks for showing up. Jackie M. Lee Billy, good to see you. Diva's mom. Ross Snyderman. Mockingjay. Rockets into Moldova. Poland rockets expected in 30 seconds. Okay, so we're going to cover this situation now. Let me check on some of my sources here, the latest information. We could have another rocket going into Poland. Because last time it flew into Poland for a little bit. They didn't shoot it down because of apparently NATO orders. Trying to find some information. Yeah, breaking news. Some missiles reportedly crossed into Moldova. Breaking news. Some missiles reportedly crossed into Moldova. This is just coming in a few minutes ago. We have breaking news that Kinzhal hypersonic missiles were launched at Lviv. So they're hitting Lviv again. They're hitting western Ukraine. And want to just remind you guys that the Kazakhstan embassy in Ukraine has called on its citizens to leave the Kharkiv and Odessa regions as soon as possible. Okay, so that's not good, guys. Okay, it means that Russia is going to try to go after Kharkiv and Odessa possibly. And the Kazakhstan, they're part of the CSTO, I believe, the Russian NATO, so they have information on that. Let me just check some of my sources here. Let's see here. Yeah, so we have breaking news. Some of the missiles reportedly crossed into Moldova. We have hypersonic missiles going to Lviv. We have a lot of areas in western Ukraine getting hit now. Volyn, Ternopil, and Khmelnytsky got hit. And also Kharkiv and Poltava got hit. Looks like they launched some Kinzhal missiles, which is pretty interesting. They haven't used those in a little while. But they launched some hypersonics, it looks like, in the strike tonight. So it looks like some of these missiles flew into Moldova. Polish F-16s are in the air right now to protect Poland from any Russian missiles flying into their airspace. I haven't heard of any missiles flying into Poland just yet. But Poland always sends their F-16s into the air anytime they have these missile strikes. It's nothing new. They've been doing that for basically the whole time during the war. Ever since Germany withdrew their Patriot missile system from the Ukrainian border, Poland now patrols their skies with F-16s. So yeah, we're hearing that two Russian missiles have entered Moldova. Okay, 2 Russian missiles have now entered Moldova. And, there's an error here with YouTube. I can't edit my stream. I can't do anything for some reason. I cannot change any settings. I can't change the title. I don't know what's going on. I would have to end the stream and restart it, just so you guys know. So just take note of that, moderators. Yes, F-16s are always scrambled in Poland. That's nothing new. They've been doing that for a while. Thank you, Vanessa. I appreciate it. Yeah, U.S. Air Force is circling in eastern Poland. Yep, that's normal. They always do that. Yeah, there's some kind of glitch, guys. I can't edit the stream, just so you guys are aware. I can't change anything on the stream now for some reason. Judy Fugate, thank you for gifting 20 memberships. I don't know if Moldova was actually hit or not. I know that 2 missiles actually flew into Moldova. That's what we're hearing right now. Sultan Prepper, good to see you. NYPrepper, you rock. I wait for your news. Thank you, Sultan Prepper. I appreciate that. Can I show the flight map? Yeah, I can show the flight map. Sure. I can definitely do that. I mean, we're not going to really be able to see much anyway. Everything's going to have their transponders off. One thing I wanted to show you guys, I almost forgot about, is we have multiple KC-135s that took off from Wichita. Check that out. 4 KC-135s. I don't know if looks like they're going overseas. But one of them hooked back here near New Brunswick. So this is pretty unusual to have 4 aerial refuelers going overseas. I don't know if these are bombers that are moving overseas now, but to have 4 of them take off at the same time from the same base so late at night is pretty unusual. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. Let's see here. Yeah, here we have Hobo 19. It's a refueler plane. Could be a recon plane or a refueler. Probably a recon plane. It's still registered as a refueler, so it shows up as a refueler on the flight tracker, but it actually has reconnaissance on it, and this is how they get information on where the missiles are going, and they feed it to Poland, and then Poland has their F-16s on standby here. So yeah, that's what's going on right there. We got something going on here too. What's this? Got a P8 and looks like an aerial refueler down in Romania. So yeah, we have breaking news coming in. 2 Russian missiles apparently crossed into Moldova. So just so you're aware. And Judy Fugate, thank you for gifting 20 memberships again. I really appreciate it. Ben says we have to be ready for anything. We're not warned. Yep, exactly. You got to be ready for anything. Someone put Peggy in timeout. I'm not sure why. You shouldn't be in timeout, Peggy. I don't see you in timeout. So let me just check some sources, but that's all the latest breaking news that I have. I'm going to now cover the situation with the missile attack in Ukraine. Apparently, there was an air raid alert in Moldova. So very interesting. 2 missiles flew into Moldova. Looks like in this strike, Russia really targeted Western Ukraine again with hypersonic missiles. That's what I'm hearing right now. So I'm waiting for updated info. Stand by. Yeah, so we can confirm basically 100% that 2 Russian missiles crossed into Moldova. There were air raids in Moldova also. So very serious situation, guys. Very serious. Let's see. We have breaking news. Apparently, a Sukhoi 34 is flying over Melitopol and is launching X-59 missiles. So maybe they're going to go after that Dnipro dam again. You remember when they hit the dam? They may try to go after the dam again and blow the whole dam, which would be catastrophic. But yeah, for some reason, there's an information blackout tonight on these missile strikes. We're not hearing any details other than we know Lviv, Volyn, Ternopil, Khmelnytsky were hit with possibly hypersonics. And we know that 2 Russian missiles flew into Moldova, and there were air raid alerts in Moldova earlier. And we also know that there were some other missile strikes in central Ukraine. I think they hit Kryvyi Rih, if I'm not mistaken, but I can't confirm that just yet. But looks like there were ballistic missiles launched towards Kryvyi Rih from Crimea. And there were hypersonic missiles launched towards Lviv. So very, very serious situation. We're hearing that there were some kabooms in Ivano-Frankivsk. Ivano-Frankivsk is a small city close to the Ukrainian Carpathians. Let's see. Anything else here? We're hearing of kabooms in Poltava, in Mirgorod. We're also hearing of kabooms in Kremenchuk. Okay, so Kremenchuk and Mirgorod. And let's see. Apparently, there's power outages now in Dnipropetrovsk. That's not a good sign. We're hearing that there were repeated kabooms in Dnipro. So I don't know if they went after that dam again. That's very serious because Dnipro is where that dam is. So I hope they didn't go after the dam again. That would be really, really bad if they hit that dam again and took it out and flooded, Zaporizhia nuclear power plant, which is downstream. So absolutely insane, guys. Let me see. I'm just checking various sources here. So yeah, there were kabooms reported in Kremenchuk. John Hoover, if you're listening, Kremenchuk kabooms. There was a Shahed drone, an Iranian drone flying towards Lviv. One person has been wounded in the Kamyansky district. Not sure. Is that? I think that's near Kiev. I can't remember where Kamyansky is. Kabooms reported in Dnipro City. Very serious, guys. Dnipro City. I really hope and pray that they did not hit the dam. Polish F-16s are in the air right now. No word on any possible violation of Polish airspace again. But they did go into Moldova this time, it looks like. We have breaking news. Huge kabooms north of Gaza as a result of Israeli artillery and airstrikes. This is coming in right now. A series of huge kabooms just north of Gaza as a result of Israeli artillery and airstrikes. This just came in a few minutes ago. So looks like potentially a massive strike on Hezbollah or Syria. It's hard to say at this point. Amy King says it sounds like they're going after the dam again. Yeah, they don't need much to take that dam out. All they need is a couple more missiles, and they hit in the same spot. Each missile hits the same spot, and they'll take that dam right down. That's a massive dam. CERN is opening its portal to do something terrifying during the eclipse. Interesting about CERN. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to research that, but I heard about it briefly today. My reporting is slowing down. Expect partial or full clear in 30 minutes. Yeah, the question is going to be, what's the aftermath from this strike? That's going to be the question. What did they end up hitting? Because they sent a hypersonic missile to Lviv. That's pretty serious. For there to be a hypersonic going to Lviv, that's pretty unusual. So they must have went after something serious over there. Thank you, John Hoover, for all you do. Thank you very much. And you should go and check on your buddies over there. Make sure everybody's okay. Thank you guys for all your compliments. I see a bunch of people complimenting me. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoy my news updates and you find them useful. And thank you for supporting me. I appreciate it. I see your comments here. Thank you very much. Yes, I do have a Twitter account. My Twitter is at NYPrepper1. I don't post a whole lot there. What I usually do is I just post my video updates there. That's what I've been doing lately. I just don't have time to manage a whole Twitter account in addition to YouTube. So I do post there occasionally. I post my updates there. A combat sentinel currently in the Bering Sea, maybe heading for Anchorage. Interesting. That's a good catch. That's actually very concerning. Oh yeah. Looks like it's going back. Looks like it's going back from Japan. Yep, from Okinawa. It's returning from Okinawa, so that's interesting. We had a combat scent over here, probably operating in the area. We look at this unnamed aircraft patrolling the DMZ in South Korea. That's pretty interesting. Check that out. They've been patrolling the DMZ like crazy. Wow. So yeah, we got a lot of activity in Asia. Asia's the big wild card, guys. Asia's the wild card. That's the area that could just pop off without warning, and it could be very, very bad because the U.S. is obligated by various treaties to help South Korea. We have a military pact with them. Same thing with Taiwan. So that could be the wild card. So let me see if there's any other updates here about this missile strike. It looks like West Ukraine got hit pretty hard. Checking for updates here. Looks like there was a drone strike close to the Dnipro Dam in Kaniv. Kaniv is the area where there was a drone strike right near Dnipro. So we're hearing that there were at least 10, if not 12, Russian bombers in the air earlier, and they launched a bunch of cruise missiles and hypersonics. There were also ballistic missiles that were fired from Crimea to Ukraine. No word yet on anything happening with Poland, any kind of violation of Polish airspace. But we do know that 2 Russian missiles did violate Moldova's airspace, which is pretty interesting. Here we have the official post by the Polish Air Force. They're saying that they have Polish and NATO aircraft operating in the southeastern part of the country as a result of the Russian missile strike on Ukraine. Okay. I think I'm very concerned about what Lavrov said. Lavrov said after May 20th, we may not have to worry about Zelensky. What does that mean? I mean, what do you guys think that means? Anybody want to take a guess? Are they going to assassinate him? Are they going to conquer Kiev? Are they going to start a surprise military operation soon? Something is weird. about that. Marie, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it. I hope you're having a good Thursday night, Holy Thursday. Diva's mom, I haven't heard anything yet about the dam getting hit again. I'm looking to see if anything's going on with that dam. But Rodney says, I think they will bump him off. Yeah, it's possible. They may try to take him out, or they may conquer Kiev. Exactly, Kim. Yep. They could try to do that, or they could do something. I mean, I just find it very strange. I think they're going to try to go after Zelensky. They haven't really done that. They haven't tried to go after Zelensky that much, like with missiles and stuff. I think they're going to do it this time. So here we have this NATO plane here flying right near Lviv in Poland. So pretty crazy situation. Yeah, we have breaking news. Let's see. We have reports that there's a power loss in the districts of Kamyansk in Ukraine. I think that's somewhere near Dnipro. Apparently, air defense shot down several Russian drones over Cherkasy Oblast. Serhiy Lysak, head of the Dnipropetrovsk state administration, said the Russians attacked several critical infrastructure facilities in the oblast. So I hope they didn't try to go after the dam again. But that dam is probably not operational anymore because they hit that dam head on. They hit the actual turbine hall of that dam where the hydroelectric plant is. Last time they hit that turbine hall directly with missiles. So that dam is not working anymore. So it looks like they hit critical infrastructure in Dnipropetrovsk area. There's a power outage in Kamyansk. 2 missiles flew into Moldova, apparently. Let me see, check some other headlines here. See here. Okay, looks like the missile strike for the most part is winding down. The question is what was hit. There were some missiles that targeted Ivano-Frankivsk. There's scattered power outages in Dnipro Oblast. There were 3 or 4 missiles that flew towards Kremenchuk earlier. Looks like they hit West Ukraine and Dnipro pretty hard. And then they also hit Kryvyi Rih. I don't know why they hit Kryvyi Rih. There's like nothing really important there. Looks like Western Ukraine got hit really, really hard though. West Ukraine. Looks like a lot of these missiles changed course. They were flying like in, wacky ways to try to fool the Ukrainian air defenses. A lot of them changed direction. Wow, we have some breaking news, guys. Looks like Russia is going to be supporting the Houthis now. That the three ships that went into the Red Sea, apparently that they're there to support the Houthis. Isn't that something? Wow. Huh. This is being reported by TASS, the Russian news agency. Wow. Isn't that something? Russia will bring everyone responsible for the crimes of the Kiev regime to justice, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said. Wow. Wow. Wow, guys, this is really spiraling out of control. Wow. It's getting crazy. Isn't it crazy that Russia would launch this big attack on Ukraine on Good Friday? Isn't that interesting? The day that Jesus was crucified. Isn't that satanic? What a good way to celebrate Good Friday. Launch a missile strike at another country, at your neighbor. That's something that a Christian leader would do. Christian Putin launching missiles on Good Friday. Lee says, Greg, that shows Putin is not Christian. Right, that's what I'm saying. Everybody says he's a Christian, but if you're a Christian, why are you launching missiles on Good Friday? I guess maybe, he's Orthodox, so maybe he doesn't consider, I don't know, they have a different calendar, so maybe, I don't know. But regardless, there's a lot of Christians in Ukraine that don't follow the Orthodox calendar. And it's still the right thing to do to not launch a strike on civilians on Easter weekend. Putin is a Stalinist. I think he's worse than Stalin because Stalin didn't have nuclear weapons. Putin has nuclear weapons, which is scary, Stalin, at least he didn't have nuclear weapons. If he had nuclear weapons, that would have been really bad. Yeah, Putin was a student of Klaus Schwab. A lot of people don't know that. Putin was a student of Klaus Schwab. He was part of the School for Young Global Leaders. He was Klaus Schwab's best bud. He went to the School for Young Global Leaders when he was young. He was Klaus Schwab was like his mentor. Here is Putin speaking at the World Economic Forum. Here's Putin at the World Economic Forum. For those of you guys who think that he's the savior of the world, yeah, he's one of them. He's one of the elites. He's part of the Illuminati, probably. This could all be one big planned event. Yeah, you could look it up. Klaus Schwab and Putin. He went to Klaus Schwab's school for young leaders, the same school that Trudeau and Macron went to. Basically, Klaus Schwab was grooming him to be a world leader. Turquoise says pencil D Putin. That's funny. Pencil D Putin. That's funny. I just have some. I have some jelly beans that I'm eating. Just a few, not too much. Just a little snack. So yeah, Putin is definitely one of them. Did I see Greg Abbott was there too? Yeah, I saw Greg Abbott was there. And yes, Trump's daughter, you're talking about the one that married Kushner, right? The blonde that married Kushner, the younger one. Yeah, well, another thing too is Jared Kushner. Jared Kushner is another one. He's got some weird stuff going on. Look up Jared Kushner. That's Trump's daughter's husband. I think she actually converted to Judaism. She converted to Judaism when she married him. But I'm sure a lot of you guys know Jared Kushner's story. I mean, he's got an entire building in New York City, and the address is 666. Okay? How weird is that? That's Jared Kushner's building. He actually bought it out. I forget the actual address. I don't know which road, which street it's on in New York City. It's the 666 is the address. Is it? Yes, triple six Fifth Ave. I think it is. Is it on Fifth Avenue? Yeah, 666 Fifth Avenue. Wow. And they actually renamed it, I guess. They renamed it to 660. That's funny. They renamed it to 660. I guess because it drew too much attention, and they changed the last 6 to a 0. Anyway, let me check up on the situation in Ukraine. It's 666 Fifth Ave is the Jared Kushner's building, but I think they changed it to 660. Very strange, guys. Very strange. Let me see what's going on with that missile strike in Ukraine. Trying to see if there's any updates here. Wow, looks like potentially 3 hydroelectric power plants were targeted tonight. Check this out. Looks like they targeted the one in Kamyansk, in Kremenchuk, and then also in Cherkasy. So I don't know if they targeted the Dnipro Dam again or not, but looks like they went after several hydroelectric power plants and thermal plants. Interesting. Let me see if there's any updates here. Yeah, so it looks like Russia may have targeted several hydroelectric power plants and several thermal power plants in the central part of Ukraine along the Dnieper River. So very interesting. I'm waiting to see what information comes out. But so far, we're hearing that 2 missiles went to Moldova. Several missiles went to Western Ukraine. We're hearing that hypersonic missiles went to Lviv. We're hearing that several hydroelectric power plants were targeted along the Dnieper River. Kinzhal hypersonic missiles were used against Lviv. So it's a crazy situation. So far, we haven't heard anything of any missiles crossing into Poland. I haven't heard anything about that. There was also a series of large kabooms just to the north of Gaza recently, just a few minutes ago. So looks like Russia hit some hydroelectric plants, thermal plants. I'm not hearing anything yet about Dnipro, if they hit the dam again over there, but it's very possible. Let me just share my screen. Here we have a map. So it looks like potentially this is the one that was hit last time. the Dnipro hydroelectric plant. This is the same dam that Stalin blew up during World War II, and it's upstream from the Zaporizhia plant. The Zaporizhia plant is right here. You see this big cooling pond? This is the Zaporizhia plant. So they almost blew this dam, which would have flooded that whole power plant. I don't know if they hit it again or not. It's too early to tell. But apparently they hit Kamyansky, which is right near Dnipro. It's not far right here. Apparently they hit this hydroelectric dam right here. I don't know if they compromised the bridge itself or the dam itself, or if they just hit the power plant. But I'm hearing that they did strike this hydroelectric plant in Kamyansky, right near Dnipro city. If they actually compromise the dam, then that could flood this area. And then I think they also targeted the Kremenchuk plant as well. And I think they also targeted something up here in Kaniv. Looks like they hit this Kaniv hydroelectric plant. Wow. That's what looks like transpired based on my sources. Did I report this? Yes, I reported on the NATO jets. Yep, they always scramble NATO jets anytime there's a missile attack. That's nothing new. They always do that. Poland does it and the US does it. They scramble F-16s to shoot down any missiles that may come in. Yankee Bell, good to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you're doing well. Good to see you. Attacking dams is a war crime as it's civilian infrastructure. Yeah, I don't think Putin really cares about war crimes anymore. He's basically, I mean, he's not going to go to jail for that. Nobody's going to take him to jail, you know? So, yeah, I don't think he really cares. So looks like they hit, from what I'm hearing, is they hit the Kaniv hydroelectric plant, which is up here, northwest of Cherkasy. Then they hit this hydro plant here near Kremenchuk. And then they hit the Kamyansky plant north of Dnipro. So they're basically trying to cut the power to these central Ukrainian cities, Cherkasy, Kremenchuk, and Dnipro. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like they want to cut the power to these cities, maybe because they're going to launch an operation on them. And then I'm also hearing that there was a plant in Pavlohrad that was targeted as well. But see, like if Russia comes in from Donetsk, if they break through the front lines over here in Donetsk, they would be going right through this area, through Dnipro, Kamyansky, Kremenchuk, if they break through the front lines. So it makes sense that they would try to take out the power now ahead of time. It's only like 100 miles from Donetsk, you know, like Dnipro, for example. From Donetsk, it's 96 miles. That's not much. And there's not really much Ukrainian defenses here. It's just, you know, farmland. So once they break through the line here, they can just go straight west and they can try to take Dnipro city. There's really no Ukrainian military presence there. I mean, very little. but it looks like they took out all the hydro plants here, Kaniv, Kamyanskaya, and Kremenchuk. They're trying to black out these major cities here, Cherkasy, Kremenchuk, and Dnipro in central Ukraine. That's what it looks like to me. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what it appears to be. Let me see if there's any updates here on what was hit. I'm not hearing any updates so far. It's for some reason very quiet. Normally you'd hear all kinds of reports coming in, but we're not hearing anything really. Apparently there's some power issues in Ivano-Frankivsk. 2 series of kabooms were heard in Khmelnytsky region. Kabooms reported in Ivano-Frankivsk. It's unusually quiet for some reason. Yeah, for some reason, guys, I cannot edit my stream. There's something wrong with YouTube, so it's going to stay as an emergency alert. I can't even change the title. I can't change the chat. I don't know what's going on. So I can't speed up the chat. I can't slow it down. So just so you guys are aware, I can't change the title. I can't change the thumbnail. I don't know why, but looks like some kind of glitch. So yeah, we have 2 missiles that entered Moldova. Yeah, I'm not going to restart the stream. It doesn't work that way, unfortunately, because when you restart a stream, you lose half of your people watching. Anytime I restart a stream, half the people disappear and never come back. So yeah, I'll just have to keep it like this. Unfortunately, there was a big glitch today in YouTube. But for some reason, the information is trickling in quite slowly. There's not a lot of details, and I wonder if that's because Ukraine is trying to hide the damage. They don't want the world to know. They don't want Russia to know. Because I'm not really hearing of anything going on, which is unusual with such a big attack. So I think Ukraine got hit pretty hard. It's just that they're not reporting on it. They don't want Russia to know where the hits were and stuff. I mean, if the missile strike was over, you wouldn't have this thing still in the air. So it's possible there could be more missiles on the way, still. Good night, John Hoover. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it. Yeah, YouTube put me in timeout. Yeah. KLW is having the same problem. That's good to know that I'm not the only one with that problem. Good to see you, by the way, Bailey. Thanks for showing up. So for those of you guys just tuning in, the beginning of the stream is where I went over the news. First hour or so, I went over the breaking news, and now we're just covering this missile strike on Ukraine that's going on. K. Paul said John will be in Ukraine next week. Oh, okay. I'll have to catch up with John and talk to him. See what the details are of that. John, I'll reach out to you on Telegram so I can get the details of your trip. We're definitely going to pray for you, John. I always pray for you anytime you go to Ukraine. Diva's mom says, I miss Lorna. Yeah, Lorna disappeared. She was feeling burnt out. I guess the trolls got to her, so I don't know when or if she's going to come back. There was one troll in particular that was like threatening her, like physically. He sent me all these crazy emails and she got upset, and so I don't know when she's coming back, if at all. YouTube is trying to shadow silence me. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's possible. Multiple channels were having this issue today. I upload my video that I posted earlier. I waited like an hour or two before I posted it because it was showing that it didn't process yet. And normally, when you upload a video, it usually processes within like 15 minutes at the most, unless you have like a massive video, then or you're using like 4K, then it takes like over an hour or 2 hours. But for my videos, I just do 1080 and they're not that long, so it usually processes within like 15 minutes. And literally, it was processing for 5 hours. So something's going on with YouTube. I don't know what. But I spoke with them and they were blaming me. They were saying I need to be more patient. They said that I have to wait for it to process. So they weren't really too helpful. So I'm not hearing any updates right now on the missile strikes. I'm trying to find information here. Yeah, so we're hearing that multiple Ukrainian power stations were damaged or hit. We're hearing as several Ukrainian power plants were hit overnight. Just now, 2 Russian missiles flew into Moldova. There were some big protests in New York City today by Palestinians. The Palestinians were clashing with police. There were some riots earlier. They were protesting. Let me just check the flight tracker, see what else is up in the air now. Maybe some B-1s will show up. Look what we have here. We have a sub hunter patrolling Taiwan. Look at that. Look at that. They're really stepping up their patrols around Taiwan and South Korea now. In the last few weeks, I've really seen an increase in U.S. reconnaissance activity around Taiwan and South Korea. More P8s, RC-135s, combat sentinels. Yeah, something's brewing over there in Asia. Now, this is interesting. Look at this one refueler here. Took off from Wichita, and it flew all the way to New Brunswick and then turned around and came back. That is pretty interesting. Wow. Very interesting. Very strange. What if they aren't broken? What if they are scanning everything and reading it with AI? Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, YouTube uses AI. They use AI, and I noticed that their AI has been making a lot of mistakes lately. Yeah, I remember Alpine Preparedness. Yeah, Alpine Preparedness is doing well, as far as I know. My mods are fantastic. Oh, thank you, Renee. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Phoenix says Obama, Biden, and Clinton were at the New York City fundraiser. Yes, Obama, Biden, and Clinton were in New York City at a fundraiser. And Obama and Biden flew together to that on Air Force One. Bailey says check on the Australian Wedgetail and F-16s refueled Hobo 19. Yes, I saw Hobo 19. Where's the Wedgetail? Where's that located? Where's the Wedgetail? Is that also in Poland? Oh, yeah, I see the Wedgetail now. Yeah, I see it. Yeah, there's the AWACS and the Wedgetail. Yep. That's on ADS B. It's not on flight radar. Yeah, I see the Wedgetail, though. It's weird. Flight radar is not picking up the Wedgetail for some reason. That's interesting. But it's picking up Hobo. We got some Russian VIP planes leaving Moscow. We have the 223rd flight unit leaving Moscow. That's pretty interesting. New York may have cut the power to get the protesters out. It's possible, yeah. Has a power outage going on. They will be without power for several hours. I wonder if there's B2s with those refuelers. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering also. I'm wondering also the same thing. Let me check up on that power outage. I doubt that they took the power out on purpose to get the protesters out. I doubt it. New York City loves these Palestinians. They let them protest there all the time. New York City is the most Democrat city in the world, in the country, probably. So, I don't think they want those Palestinians to stop, because if they did, they would have stopped them a long time ago. You know, they've protested a lot in the past over there, and they didn't do anything. Yeah, I'm hearing looks like upstate New York has some scattered power outages. Albany, some power outages in Albany. Looks like potentially in Syracuse area. There's some power outages in Syracuse. So it looks like also near Batavia and Lockport. There's also some outages there. So I'm not sure the cause of it, but I don't know. I'm not seeing anything in New York City right now. I'm checking the. Oh yeah, there are some small reports here. This is the Con Ed map. This is Con Edison. That's the company responsible for the power. You can see their territory goes all the way up to Mohegan Lake. I know these areas very well. Spent many years there in those areas. Yeah, there's some scattered outages. Looks like in Queens, even as like near Far Rockaway here, there's estimated time of restoration, more work required. Evaluating condition in Sheepshead Bay area. Staten Island, apparently there's no lights. Crews will be dispatched soon. In the Bronx, outage has recently been reported. Evaluating condition, 3 customers reporting. So yeah, there is some kind of power outage here in the New York City area, but it looks like upstate New York is also affected. Let me check NYSEG. Let me see if NYSEG has any outages. I don't know if they have any maps with. Oh yeah, they do have. NYSEG has a map. NYSEG doesn't really have a lot of territory in New York. They have a few scattered areas, but they are reporting a power outage. Interesting. Yeah, NYSEG is also reporting something. Check this out. In the southern tier over here, there's one outage. That's just one, though. Let's see some other ones. Let's try Central Hudson. Central Hudson is the Hudson Valley region. Looks like there are some outages. Planned interruption. Oh, that's in April for Poughkeepsie. Planned interruption. But nothing in Central Hudson area. They serve the whole Hudson Valley. They're not reporting anything. So many strange things going on, and it's Good Friday. Yeah, it is very strange. The bridge collapse death toll is up to 6. Yep, that's right. It is up to 6 now. Diva's mom, have a good night. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for showing up, and hope you have a good Easter weekend. Not sure if you're going to be spending time with your family or not, but I hope everything works out for you. Michelle Cameron, thank you very much. God bless you and your family as well. Colleen Oakley says, I read 2400 in the Hudson Valley. There are outages all over right there. Yeah, I don't see any outages based on Central Hudson, but they may not have updated it yet. But Con Edison is reporting a few very scattered outages here. But they could be concealing it. They don't want people to know the truth. You know, sometimes it also takes time for these maps to update. I don't know if there's anybody local to the area. Is there anybody in the chat tonight that's from New York City or from the Hudson Valley or upstate New York? If you could tell me what the conditions are there, if you're experiencing anything. when Trump wins, I should work for the State Department. That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I guess if he offered me the job, I would have to consider it, obviously. Christopher James says you're open to being a mod. Sounds good, Christopher. I'll keep that in mind. Could always use new mods potentially. Yeah, I checked Con Edison. I'm checking Con Edison now, and as you see, there's not a lot going on. There's scattered outages, but these maps, they don't populate right away. So, yeah. I'm not seeing anything on the news. Looks like Long Island still has power, I'm assuming. Anybody from Long Island? Upstate looks good, going for a walk soon. Max Kurgan says, I'm in Oneida between Syracuse and Utica. No power outages here. I have family in Ulster County. No power outages there either. Okay, good to know. But it looks like there is something going on in New York City. There are some scattered outages here, but it's hard to say how bad it is right now. It's too early. So let's check up on Ukraine. It looks like Ukraine is not revealing any damage information. There's very scattered information coming out. But what we do know is they may have hit several power stations, and 2 missiles may have flown into Moldova. That's what we're hearing right now. Checking to see if there's any updates on the missile attack. This is pretty funny. Here we have Vladimir Putin, the man, the myth, the legend. My gosh. The Russian ambassador left Poland. The Russian ambassador to Poland left Poland, so that's bad news right there. That could be a sign that war's about to break out. If the ambassador left Poland, that's not a good sign. We have these Palestinian protesters in New York City earlier. Let me play this for you. They were saying down with the USA. So this is another thing we got to worry about. In addition to all the stuff going on in Ukraine, we got to worry about terrorism here in the U.S., which could still happen. You know, as the war in the Middle East escalates.
Down with the USA! Down with the USA! Down with the USA! Netanyahu, you will pay! Netanyahu, you will pay! Nukes are on their way! Nukes are on their way! Down with the USA! Down with the USA! Down with the USA! Down with the USA! Netanyahu, you will pay. Al-Qassam are on their way. Al-Qassam are on their way. Down with the USA. Down with the USA. Down with the USA. Down with the USA.
Wow. Look at this. It's brewing in our own country, guys. It's brewing in our own country. Yeah, they should take those masks off. I agree. Thoughts on floating orbs with a smoke ring in central Texas? It could be plasma weapons. Sounds like a plasma weapon to me. Maybe the U.S. was testing plasma weapons. Project Marauder. In the early 90s, the U.S. developed plasma weapons. They actually tested a plasma toroid. It was a coaxial plasma railgun that fired donut-shaped rings of plasma and balls of lightning. This was in the early 90s. Project Marauder, magnetically accelerated ring to achieve ultra-high directed energy and radiation, was a U.S. Air Force research laboratory project concerning the development of a coaxial plasma railgun. The first computer simulations occurred in 1990, and its first published experiment appeared on August 1st, 1993. Wow, so they tested this thing in 1993. Apparently it was successful, and then they classified it afterwards. So yeah, who knows? They could be testing directed energy weapons. But that's 100% real, guys. The U.S. military has plasma weapons. Okay, they classified them in the 90s after they tested it. So we don't really hear too much about it anymore. Thanks for showing up, K. Paul. I appreciate you. Oh, what's going on, Alaskan Ballistics? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for showing up, and good night. Godspeed. Everybody check out Alaskan Ballistics. My buddy there, Chuck, up in Alaska, he does ballistics videos, firearms content, outdoors content. Check him out. But here we have footage of those nukes on the move in Siberia earlier today. RS-24 Yars. Let me just check and see if there's any other updates here on Ukraine. It looks like Ukraine is not really releasing much info. Ukraine is not really releasing much info on this. It's very quiet. I'm not hearing anything about anything flying into Poland, which is good. Looks like the air alerts are now over. So the air raid is officially over in Ukraine, but no reports on damage. Just that, I mean, it's really strange. It looks like Ukraine is trying to hide the damage, basically. They don't want Russia to know. I'm hearing reports that there could be an evacuation of Kharkiv. This was reported by the mayor of Kharkiv. People are going to be resettled to different areas. They're considering a mandatory evacuation of Bogodukivsky and Kharkivsky region. The mayor of Kharkiv is considering a forcible evacuation of the northern parts of Kharkiv. So that's not a good sign. Means that Russia's going to try to go after Kharkiv. And I told you guys earlier that the Kazakhstan embassy in Ukraine called on its citizens to leave the Kharkiv and Odessa regions. I'm going to see if I can't find that for you guys. We still have this AWACS plane flying here in southeastern Ukraine. Let me see if I can. Let's see here. If I can find it. They're not showing anything here. Interesting. Yeah, I'm on the Kazakhstan embassy website and in Ukraine, and they're not showing anything here about Kharkiv and Odessa. Interesting. Some old news. Maybe the Kazakhstan State Department will have it or whatever. Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Let's see if they have any info on that. DC on lockdown. Someone said DC is on lockdown. Paleo Greenbird, thank you for the donation. Greg, if the nukes drop and we have to hunker down in our basements for a few days, will our number 10 cans upstairs still be okay to use, or is there special care needed to make them safe? Yeah, they would be safe to use. Yeah. They may get a little bit irradiated. They may get a little bit irradiated, but you should be fine. As long as there's no like fallout or radioactive particles that settle on the cans. And when you're opening the can, you don't want that stuff to like fall into your can, or you don't want to carry it down into your basement either. So you want to maybe keep those cans in in boxes or something, so you don't have any radioactive debris that would settle on them if, let's say, your windows get blown out from a blast wave or something, and then the fallout could settle inside your house or something, or dust could blow in and settle on the cans, and then you're going to bring those cans into your basement and bring that radiation in. But they should be fine. If you have room, I would just bring them down to the basement, but they should be fine. It's not going to harm them in any way. It's not going to make the food go bad or anything. And it should be safe to eat, even if it's a little bit irradiated. It should be fine. It's better to eat food than it is to starve. Food that's slightly irradiated versus starving, you're better off eating the slightly irradiated food. DC is not on lockdown. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's best to store the food in the basement with you, right? Yeah, so DC is not on lockdown. Yeah, the P8 on the border of Ukraine, that's normal. They always fly there. There's nothing special about that. They always fly here all the time. Almost every night they fly here. So yeah, that's nothing really concerning. But we do have these 2 Russian VIP planes, which is pretty interesting. This is pretty interesting. They're going east to Siberia. Potentially Putin could be on one of these planes. Who knows? Or maybe some other Russian leader. I don't know. Interesting. And we still have a hobo in the air. That's really interesting that it's lingering for that long. Even though the missiles already landed a while ago. It's pretty weird, actually. It's pretty unusual. Looks like Russia struck Zaporizhia. That was actually last night. They hit Zaporizhia. Yeah, there's not much information. It's so strange. There's not much information about these missile attacks tonight. I don't know why. But it is weird that hobo is still up in the air. They usually by now that hobo would be going back to wherever it came from, Germany or the UK. The fact that it's still in the air is kind of concerning. See you later, Lee Billy. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Italian expat says you're the best, Greg. Thank you, Italian. I appreciate it. Your doctor said you shouldn't take potassium iodide since you're on a thyroid medicine. That makes sense. Yeah. Is that northeast of Moscow, Yamantu? Looks like they're heading to Yamantu. Yeah, Yamantu is actually southeast of Moscow. It's in the southern Urals. Yamantu is down over here by Belarus. It's over here. This is where Yamantu is. It's near Belarus, which I believe is a closed city. But this is where Yamantu is down here. So they already passed Yamantu. At least, one of them passed Yamantu, the Russian National Guard. But then the 223rd Flight Unit could still go there. Then you have Kozvinsky Kameny, which is up in the northern Urals up here. So, I mean, they have bunkers all over, but it's pretty interesting that this plane is still in the air, guys. Look at that. It's still flying here over eastern Poland. It's very strange. Usually by now they would be going back. So it's pretty interesting. Thank you, K. Paul, for all the support. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And appreciate you moderating. What's going on, Crow TN? just saw your name show up in the chat. Thank you for that information, Bailey. I appreciate it. So let me just check and see if there's any other breaking news here. But it looks like they targeted several power plants along the Dnipro River. They sent 2 missiles into Moldova. They hit Lviv with a hypersonic missile, so it was a pretty serious strike tonight. Definitely not a light strike. Just checking if there's any updates on it. I mean, it is very early in the morning, so it's very early in the morning, so maybe that's why. In Ukraine, it's early in the morning now, so maybe we should have some info trickling out soon about the damage, possibly. But we do have some breaking news that apparently the mayor of Kharkiv is considering evacuating people from the northern part of Kharkiv. So that's pretty concerning. Just checking for updates here. The USS Dwight Eisenhower aircraft carrier has now officially joined Operation Prosperity Guardian in the Red Sea. Zelensky replaced the head of the Ukrainian Foreign Intelligence Service. He got rid of Alexei Danilov and replaced him with a General Ivashenko. That was I think yesterday or 2 days ago. We're gonna have that statement from the Serbian president. That's gonna be later on today. He's gonna make a statement on the situation in Bosnia. Polish security services said Thursday they raided a Russian spy network in cooperation with Czech intelligence. Wow. Interesting. The Internal Security Agency is conducting activities as part of an investigation into espionage activities for Russia directed against European Union countries and institutions, agency spokesman Dobzhinsky said on social media. Wow. Very interesting. The Swedish Foreign Ministry spokesman said that Swedes are now allowed to participate in the war in Ukraine, apparently. Pretty interesting. Bailey, thank you for that information, Bailey. Yeah, the two B-1s, they took off yesterday. Those two B-1s that flew to Spain, they went up to the Russian Arctic, I believe. Let's see if there's any other news coming in. So right now it's pretty quiet. That's the latest breaking news that I have. I think I'm going to actually have to wind it down earlier tonight because tomorrow's Good Friday. And I have some family stuff I got to get prepared for this weekend. So I wish I could stay longer, but unfortunately I got to cut it short. But tomorrow I might, if I have time, I'll try to put out an update. Aldo Schmedek says 60s Mustangs were the best. My favorites, especially Mox and Shelby stuff. God bless you, Deborah. Good night, Abraham. Colleen Oakley, Stephanie Ann. KL, thank you for moderating, KL. Good night, and thanks for your news as always. Take it easy and enjoy your weekend. Thank you, KL. Blue Angel, thank you so much. Hope you have a good Easter weekend. Just so you guys are aware, I may be reducing my programming this weekend. As far as breaking news goes, I may reduce it a little bit. If I have time, I'll put out updates, but my family obligations are going to come first. But I'm going to try to put out at least like one update tomorrow, or actually today. And then over the weekend, we'll see how much time I have. Potentially, I'll put one out Saturday, but Sunday may be iffy because it's Easter Sunday, so I probably won't put one out on Sunday. So hope you guys have some interesting things planned for Easter. And remember the reason for Easter, which is the resurrection of Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. Good night, Mockingjay. God bless. Thank you for all the moderators for showing up. Rodney Middleton, Aldo Schmedek. Appreciate you guys showing up on such short notice. Ashanti Ray, thank you for gifting 20 memberships. Kim Cape, have a good night. Jennifer, have a good night. Vigo the Carpathian. Mama of 6, I hope you're doing well. I hope you recovered from the pneumonia situation. And Peggy McGuire, thanks for showing up. Good to see everybody. Hopefully I'll be able to do some more streams next week. Next week I'm going to do a bunch more streams. So that'll be pretty fun. Aldo says, love to be here. Lots of trolls, but we managed them okay. Rodney was a great help and a great choice. Yeah, Rodney's awesome. I should have made him a moderator a long time ago. I guess I just never thought of it, you know. And I really appreciate you guys doing all of that and helping out. It's really a huge help, you know, to have good moderators. It's hard to find, you know, and reliable ones that are usually there when you need them and you can trust them. You know, I appreciate you guys. Ashanti Ray, thank you again for the donation. Thank you so much, Ashanti Ray. I hope you have a good night. And thanks again. I really appreciate the support, Ashanti. Makes me think of the singer Ashanti. Remember the old rap singer from the early 2000s. Ashanti, she was really popular back in the day. Yeah, I have been busy. Yeah, that's true, Aldo. Open Minds, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. I appreciate it. I hope you have a good Easter weekend. Thanks for the support. Mockingjay, you're interested in being a mod? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'll definitely keep that in mind. We have Christopher, James, and Mockingjay that want to be mods, so I'll probably make you guys mods soon. Thank you very much for offering your help. It's very nice of you to do. Thank you again, Ashanti Ray, for 10 more memberships. Thank you very, very much. That's really nice of you. I don't know what to say. Thank you very much for your generosity. Aldo says, I remember Ashanti. Yeah, Ashanti was a cool singer. She had some good songs. NYC Nick, thank you very much. She's dating Nelly. Is that true? I don't know. I haven't kept up with all that stuff in so long. So thank you again, Ashanti Ray. Wow, donating 30 memberships. Wow, that's very nice of you to do. Very nice. Thank you so much. Happy Easter, Kinkoy and Shirley H. And Christopher James, happy Good Friday. I have to respond to your email, by the way. I'm going to check my email. Believer X says, don't forget, Greg, you're not alone. God is always with you. May he give you visions and dreams and the ability to discern the truth. Thank you, Believer X. I appreciate that. Yeah, God is with us all the time. That's very true, especially in all these crazy times we're living in. God is watching, and he's got our back for sure. So we have to just keep praying, keep praying every night before you go to sleep. Pray, ask for peace on earth. So have a happy Easter, guys, and I will probably go live. I don't know when the next time I'll go live, probably in a couple of days, because over the Easter weekend, I won't be able to, but I'll probably put out some updates. But TW Perry, good to see you. So have a good night, guys, and take care. God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.